Good morning from sunny and quite chilly Kiev. We're standing today at Zhuliany airport. I believe it is now called Sikorski, or the other way around, maybe. The airport, just if you're wondering, the airport is a freeware. The stutter you saw is the Kiev landmarks loading in the background. The airport itself is freeware. The enhancement for it, so the static aircrafts, all those elements here, the clutter, all that is part of separate enhancement, which is free of charge as well. So today we'll be making a MedEvac flight. We're standing at stand 18M at Kiev Zhuliany. That used to be the main apron, but since Wizz Air started operations to Zhuliany some years ago, they actually built a whole new international terminal, which is there in the background, far away. So we will be doing cold and dark startup to takeoff and early phases of after takeoff today. So a bit of a guide as to what to expect from the aircraft, which generally is, in my opinion, great. Regarding the paint, so if you're wondering, that paint is not available yet. The textures for the aircraft, that is, these are not available yet. There are still a few elements that need correcting, but once it's ready, it will be published at flightsim.to as well. And as you can see, appropriately for MedEvac, we do have an ambulance and paramedics with the patients already waiting for us to accept them on board. There they are. So again, in our simulation scenario, we're flying a citizen of Poland today. We're picking him up from Kiev. We're transporting him back to Warsaw. So, first things first. First of all, I will be following the checklist, which I already published on flightsim.to. It's quite hard to find anything on Piaggio Avanti online, so what I found, I gathered into one flowchart that allows you to go through the aircraft systems and power it up properly and start up. It is not real life checklist. This is the most important part. I tried to make it complicated enough to feel like real life, but at the same time I did make it simple enough to actually enjoy the simulation rather than struggle with all the systems. Right, so that's our beautiful Piaggio Avanti, the interior as well. It's Piaggio Avanti 2 because of the glass cockpit. So let's start our checklist, because again we'll be making a flight to Warsaw. So we want chocks. Chocks are here. Parking brake is armed, so that handle has to be pulled. Circuit breakers, these are not modeled, but these are fantastically done anyway. So these are all in place. Gear handle is here. It's a teeny tiny gear handle. It has to be in down position, which it is. Battery switch. So generally, the fantastic part of this aircraft of Piaggio Avanti is that nearly everything is electrical, and pretty much what you see on the screen is the whole panel operating the aircraft. That's it. That's the electrical panel. These are fuel pumps, a bit of engine management, oil coolers, anti-ice systems, which are quite pronounced. System test. This is your hydraulic panel. Yep. It's literally one display, one switch. Bleeders, heating, cooling, and then cabin pressurization. That's it. So, going further. So, battery switch. Battery to on. The aircraft has lights by default switched on. So that's your floodlight. We don't need floodlight. That's your cabin. Cabin should be on generally. Lamp, so that's the brightness of your caution light, so we'll leave it at bright. That we don't really need. The control panels and displays, we do we want displays illuminated? Not really. It looks like it's a nice sunny day. But there is one awesome thing here. So if you come out of the flight deck, that one switch here is a floor lighting. It's kind of emergency lighting. See, I love it. It's brilliant, brilliant thing. Brilliant thing at night. We'll get our display brightness back up though. Right. So battery is on. Bus voltage is read through here. Right soft 4 button. Click. Bus voltage here 25, which is fine. Now our generators are off. The engines are off, obviously. Annunciator panel. So we go to this knob, we move the arrow on that knob, that little thing here, to annunciator, and you press the knob. That's your annunciator test, which is working. Engine ice detector. Ice detector, and we're looking here, right? Fuel quantity system. Fuel quantity is here. Press, and we have these two display coming up, right? Gear lights, these are check. Check. Avionic oxygen pressure. To be honest, I have no idea where to check oxygen pressure. I presume there's some kind of display somewhere here, of some sort. Maybe. Avionic master, which is here. So generally, depending on your options, if you have GPU, you will switch it differently. If you don't, you will switch it differently. So let's get our GPU plugged. So our GPU plugged is plugged, and then you have on MFD external power message here. So we can get our avionics all the way to avionics, and that brings all the systems here. If you don't have GPU and you want a quick start, then you move it to COM1 only, just to get the clearance, and then you move on to engine start, and once you have at least one engine running, then you can move to avionics. However, there's few conditions there, to which we will not be getting at this moment. External power message on MFD, we do have it. Cabin and aircraft lights in illumination, we do have it, and position lights on. We are doing things in the cockpit, so your position lights here need to be on at the same time. Instrument covers, engine covers should be already off, so the ground crew, whoever they are, whatever aircraft they're moving around, they can see our position lights, and they can be cautious. Right, before engine start checklist, bus voltage, we checked that, it's 25, which is fine. Battery temperature is 30, which is okay. EPU switch. Now EPU switch is here, and you always move it to ARM. This is emergency power unit, and emergency power unit allows for either the test of this switch remains in ARM position whenever engines are running. That's because of the connection to generator and energy saving, but because we have GPU plugged, we will get it to ARM, and our standby altimeter comes to life as well. EPU is installed to provide power for flight critical equipment in case of bilateral generator failure. Bus stay switch, which is this one, and that one should be on norm. Is it? It is. Right. Air conditions. Bleeds or fans are supposed to be off, which are off. Now, our entrance door is still open, and the luggage door as well. So we can start accepting our passengers. So our flight today will take us over western Ukraine and eastern Poland, and that will be 707 kilometers in general. We will take fuel in kilograms. We will take 750 kilograms of fuel. I'm just making annotations on the side here. So pilot, I am 94. I did check recently. Unfortunately, there's no option to have a co-pilot. I usually fly with the lady pilot. We have... Now, it is a MedEvac flight, so we need to take under consideration the equipment, the bags, the medications, all that stuff, which is plus the stretcher, so I'm thinking 250 pounds, the passenger, who's a male, and then a lady doctor will go for paramedic, and will go for a nurse. That will be it. So we do have 728 kilograms on board. We do weigh 4.8 ton, which is fine. So since everybody's on board the door, let's close the door. We can get the laptop. Chuck is still here, right? Fuel quantity is here. It is in pounds, unfortunately. So 827 pounds each side, which roughly gives us around 750 kilograms of fuel. Passenger signs, which are here. So, ladies and gentlemen, fasten seatbelts, please. Crew packs briefing. Let us get some ATIS going, because it would be nice to know what kind of weather do we have. But in the meantime, parking brake is set. Chocks we shall remove. We still have GPU for now. Engine and pitot covers we have taken off. And then, because we do have external power, we'll go to programming FMC. So this is pretty straightforward, no philosophy here. The first page is the status, which is pretty much the first page of every flight. We should go to position initialization and click write soft 4, and the FMC automatically copies our position. And then let's execute that one. Now to flight plan. Generally, I do have flight plan set up already. I did that in the sim, so it should have been uploaded as it is here. Our flight number is LPR, which stands for oops, one second. Clear. Lotnicze pogotowie ratunkowe, air rescue, pretty much. 112, and we shall put the flight number here. We're flying from Kiev, Zhuliany. We're flying to Warsaw, Okęcie, so that's the main airport. We are departing via SLV. We don't have the runway yet, so it would be nice to get the ATIS from the airport. 1 second, let me find. That's the radio panel. It's pretty straightforward. So Zhuliany Tower is 1207, ground 1190. So let's start with 1190, because the tower will give us the clearance as well. Right, and then once we set the frequency here, we click on the opposite button and it transfers. ATIS 127475, which is set to be in English, so that will be ours. The other option seems to be in Russian, in real life. 475. 127475, let's see. Nearly there. 475 and again click.
Zhuliany Airport information, Sierra 0500 Zulu. Wind 145 at 4. Visibility, tree. Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 1. Dew point, 10. QNH tree 0.19er. Visual runway 08 in use. Landing and departing runway 08. DFR aircraft say direction of flight. All aircraft read back, hold short instructions. Advise controller on initial contact, you have Sierra. Zhuliany Airport information, Sierra 0500 Zulu. Wind 145 at 4. Visibility, tree. Sky.
Right. So we will be departing runway 8. So now, QNH 3019, we go to the panel in between PFD and MFD. Baro settings are done here. So 3019. Good thing is that the other Baro settings are done at the same time. And then with the standby altitude, there was a way. I'm sorry, I'll just click B. Right, so we have our Baro settings. Now we need to set the departure data. So we do, at this moment, the PFD is showing us our pre-planned route. So we want to go to left soft 2 button and get it to VOR rather than FMC. We want to set our course, which is 079. Our course is displayed here. 079. And we want to set the heading as well. The heading is here, so the heading will be 079 as well. Right, the frequency is 111.7, and again going to radio panel nav1 111.7. Click on the opposite and we should have the reading. We do have IKI reading of a station, which is fine. Going back to FMC, so the first plan, so again we're departing Zhuliany, so we click departure arrival. We will be departing runway 8 and we are flying towards SLV point. We just need to check on the charts which number, which is which. SLV is 2K, departing runway 8. 2K. Right, there's no transitions, and we execute. We're going back to flight plan. Next. So these are all the waypoints we will have from us. It will be better visible on legs. So these are all the waypoints we will be flying over until we get to the first approaching waypoint around Warsaw, which is Nepox. We'll leave the discontinuity for now here. What we want to know is whether our arrival is done correctly. So we are approaching via Nepox 6U. We're transitioning via WA534 and we are approaching runway 33, and this will be our nav approach. The wind at Warsaw is 3 knots, so it doesn't make any difference which way is it blowing from. Right, so we do have the flight plan set. Performance initialization, that will be a thing to do. We will be cruising at 30,000 feet. we have passengers. We have, remember, patient, we have a doctor and paramedic and a nurse, so we have technically 4 patients, but we do have a lot of cargo as well. So we have 4 patients, and then we have 250 kilograms of cargo. Sense fuel 750 kilograms, which is fantastic. Right, and now we need to go to not VNAV, leave VNAV alone. For now, we are going to takeoff page. Now, before we go into V-speed setting, we need to set a few things. So we know that our temperature is 1. Our wind, as per ATIS, is 145.4 at 4. There you go. We are having dry runway. It's not raining. The wind is here. The temperature is here. The QNH. However, QNH is in hectopascal, so you need to check your. Does it do hectopascals here? It does not. So you need to check whichever information you have. I'm using website n.almetsat.com, and I am given the pressure of 1022. Right. And now we click next. We will be starting with anti-ice on. Our flaps will be set to mid. Our V-rotate is calculated to be 109. Now, if we want to see our V-speeds on the speed tape, we click send. Complete. We execute. V-speeds. That's V-rotate here. To see them, again, back to the panel in between PFD and MFD, refs, and that's your speeds. If you move your large knob here, you will be able to adjust whatever you have here. So your V approach, V reference, baro minimum, radio altitude minimum, and so on and so on. Press it again and you got your options for PFD, so pressure in inches or hectopascals, metric altitude, which you can change, and then you'll have in meters, and that's useful when you're flying to Russia or post-Soviet countries east from Poland, because they very often stick to meters rather than feet. Flight level alerts, you want to know when you're approaching your flight level, and then your types of the flight direction bar, whichever you prefer. I don't mind either. The options are changed with the small knob in the center here. And then if you leave it be, it goes back to normal. So we have our FMC programmed. So we are going, we want to get these off. We are going to start our aircraft. So we're all on board. We have doors closed, we have GPU on. Remember that GPU is on the left side of the aircraft, somewhere there behind the wing. It's quite far away. Looking at the checklist, engine startup with pushback. We will need a pushback, so it would be nice to actually, do I have it active or do I not have it active? I don't have it active, so we'll do the checklist without pushback and we'll just turn the aircraft sharply to the right. So, engine startup with no pushback. Right, we want anti-collision to ground. Anti-collision to ground switches on your beacon. If you go to air, you get your strobes on. Wing lights, we want the flight crew to know that we are about to start engines. Many airlines do have it in their protocols to get the wing light on. Transponder, for the transponder we actually need the clearance, don't we? So I did make a mistake here. It was supposed to be 119.
Sierra 0500 Zulu.
1207 because that's a frequency of
Visibility,
the
tree.
tower.
Sky condition, clear. Temperature, 1. Dew point, 10. QNH tree 0.19er. Visual runway 08 in use.
Right. And now 127. 1 second. Let me just move my chart. I'm not using Navigraph. The aircraft is capable of displaying it. I'm using a slightly different program that I have on my tablet. 1207. It's just the tower frequency that I'm presetting. 1207. Right. So let's get a clearance.
Zhuliany ground rescuer 112 ready to copy IFR clearance to Oxy.
Rescuer 112 is cleared to Oxy Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 08 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure frequency is 135.45 squawk 7126.
7126.
Rescuer 112 cleared to Oxy Airport is filed. Takeoff runway 08 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Departure on 135.45 squawk 7126.
Rescuer 112 read that correct. Contact ground on 119.0. Good day.
Right. So transponder is set. Our power levers are down. These are power levers. Our condition levers are down as well. Firewall shutoff valves. These valves are here, so these are supposed to be open. Right, fuel pumps. These are to main, and observe the right fuel pressure. We move the fuel pump and it's disappearing. These annunciators are off. Bleeder is off. Generator switches, these are here. We want them off for now. There's no point in doing it otherwise. Ignition is on norm. If you move it to up, it means that you will have to do certain things manually. I have no idea what does it mean exactly. You would have to ask the real-life pilot. If you leave it in norm, then the aircraft is pretty much starting the engines on its own at appropriate moments. All you have to do is move the condition levers to ground idle when the NG is reaching 13%, which we'll do in a second. Bus volts, 28, which is fine. And then we will be starting engine opposite to GPU. Our GPU is here under the left wing. Do not start the left engine. The ground crew will not be happy about that. So the right engine. The right engine is started, the engines generally are started very simply. You move the right or the left start switch to start. You observe the NG. Once it's coming to 13% at least, you move the power lever to the condition lever to GI. That's it. Start. 13. Move it up. And the aircraft is firing up. And we have ITT needs to be below 1000 during startup. Oil pressure is supposed to be increasing, which is here. And NG RPM are supposed to be increasing at least, and supposed to be stable at least 54. So that is moving. So let's check. ITT max 750, which is fine. Oil pressure max minimum 60, which is fine. Oil temperature max 110, which is fine. NG RPM at least 54, which is fine. And prop RPMs minimum 900, we have 1000, which is fine. Fantastic. So if you will be starting the next engine without the well, we will be starting without the next engine without GPU. So at that moment, at that moment we want the generator reset and to on. And that's our voltage. That's the right engine generating. So we do have that one check. Bus voltage is check. Hydraulic pump is on. Hydraulic pressure light. We do not have hydraulic pressure light anymore. And now we disconnect our external power. Bye bye. And our aircraft is powered through the engine. So that is not changing. Remaining engine. For that, our condition lever goes to flight idle. We need more power provided by the right engine in order to start the left one. And again, so we are stable here. Right, start. NG at least 13, which is now. Move it up. And the engine is kicking in. Our ITT, we remember, is supposed to be below 1000. Our oil pressure is supposed to be getting up. Once the gauges are stable, we'll move the right condition lever to ground FTR again. Sorry, not ground idle, FTR. Right, so these are stable, so move it down. Don't worry to going to cut off part, it doesn't go that far, you need to separately click on it and pull it down. ITT below 750 check, oil pressure we have 112, which is fine, oil temperature minimum 60, maximum 110, which is fine, NG RPM is minimum 54, which is fine, and prop RPM minimum 900, fine. So now we will go to left generator reset and on, and we have electricity provided. And now condition levers to ground idle. Before taxi, that is the moment when we will be doing lots of checks. Electrical systems. For the millionth time, we have it checked. Avionic masters is to avionics. So again, that is switched on at this moment if you were starting the aircraft without GPU. Cockpit temperature is on auto in general. So your heating is here. You want that knob to high. Heating is on auto. Cabin temperature pretty much the same, but you do not want to move that one, so you want to do it on auto. Cabin utility switch. So cabin utility switch is the cabin light. We have them on. Cabin blowers. So we want the fan cockpit to high, fan cabin to high, and cockpit blower to high. And we want bleeds at this moment to on. Pressurization. So pressurization is done here. So generally, cabin pressure is supposed to be on auto. You do not want to mess with that, and then selection to auto as well. Dump under the gate. I've lost the word. It has a proper name. Right. So what you want is to set the landing altitude. So the landing altitude for Warsaw is 362 feet above sea level. So we want to be roughly potentially here. And the barrow setting at Warsaw, the pressure at Warsaw is 30 exactly. So we want to set it here. Right, back here. What is blinking here is steering options. So Piaggio implemented different steering options for taxi and takeoff parts. Generally you have the button here, steering mode. FlightFX was kind enough to put that note here as well, just to make sure that you don't forget about it. What it is that the nose gear turns differently when you're taxiing, differently when you're taking off. You can click it to automatic steering mode, and then the aircraft sets it himself, which I did, or you can just have it done yourself every time you're in the aircraft, and every time you're changing your flight phase. And now to checks. So bleeds are on, pressurization is to auto, and cabin selection is to auto. Autopilot, we have baro set, we have heading set 7.9, we have course set 7.9 here as well. We have V speeds which are set, so V rotate 109, V 109, V 209, V target 140. The flaps generally are supposed to be up. Let me have a look at my cheat sheet. Flaps up definitely below 170, so we will be aiming at below 140. Engine coolers, as required, we don't need them. The oil temperature is below 110. Radios are on. Air data computers, so we do have everything set here. Overspeed warning, so let's go to here, overspeed, check. Hydraulic system is working, steering system, that's working, and steering is set. Pitot heat, these are here, so pitot heat is always on. Windshield heat, it's 1 degree, so for now we would like to have it on low. Now when it comes to main wings, I do set it to auto, and boots to auto. At this moment I'll leave the forward wings and engine ice vanes to on. The oil cooler intake I'll leave off, and forward wing I'll leave off. Stall warning. Stall warning. Check. Flap system. So flap annunciation comes here. That shows us whether the flaps are asynchronous or not. Pitch trim system. Right, so that is here, pitch and yaw. So we want pitch trim just gently on the green field. I did see someone setting it in the middle. I'm not really sure how that works out. So I'll leave it even slightly lower. Right. Rudder trim check. Windshield heat is check. Engine ice vanes, so we have them on. Engine boots, we have them on auto. Oil cool intake, anti-ice, these will leave on off. Main wings are on auto, and it's time to check these systems. And forward wings are off. It's time to check these systems. So ice. So we see here ice once again. Ice coming up. Wing size. Another one. That doesn't seem to be doing anything. That's the engine overspeed. Right? Okay. Radio altimeter, we will set it later. Annunciator panel. We did test it earlier, it was working. Back cabin door, these are off because these are closed. Prop synchronization, sync prop is to on. TCAS, to be honest, I do not know how to test TCAS in that aircraft. Oh, here. TAFs and TCAS, these are not modeled. V-speeds, we know these are modeled. Here. SES altimeter, so that's the one, standby altimeter. Right, flaps are on mid. We can hide the panel. We can see flaps are on mid. Flight controls. There's no resistance. All is fine. Taxi. So generally, taxi lights are here. If you pull it up one notch, it's taxi. You can hear it coming down. So taxi light is here. It moves out of the aircraft's nose, which is cool. And recognition, we want to be recognizable from distance. Recognition light is this one here on the tail. It illuminates the fuselage on top. Landing recognition, and we can request the taxi.
Zhuliany Ground Rescuer 112 with Golf ready to taxi IFR.
Rescuer 112 taxi to and hold short of runway 08 via taxiway. Contact tower on 124.0 when ready.
Taxi to and hold short runway 08 using taxiway Rescuer 112.
Let's preset the tower setting 1240. Remember that if you go just like I had 1 to 4 and I was going up, the moment you go from 95 to 0, your main digits are also changing, so remember about that. Right, before taxi is done, so let us go. So let's increase the power slightly and let's move our beautiful aircraft to the left. Click the guy with the wing. Just about. Lucky. Right. So we have Dash 8 standing here. I can think of only 2 airlines that may be operating Dash 8s in that region, either Lot Polish Airlines or Air Baltic. I don't believe Lufthansa would be, or Austrian would be sending their Dash here. Anyway, taxi checklist. Brakes. Let's have a feel. Yep, definitely working. Flaps are mid, synchronous. Steering system is steering taxi. Prop reverse, let's have a look. So I have key bound to prop reverse. Check. Yeah, so that's the international terminal that was used and built. I'm not really sure who paid for it, but looking at the colors, maybe Wizard contributed. And that is where we will be turning to the right, because that's the system at Zhuliany. So you are turning to the right here, or if you want to go to the stands, you go further and take the next turn. Right. Beautiful. Roughly, if you're struggling to find the center of the aircraft, a fantastic tip I heard from one of the real life actually pilots was that if you're gonna get your taxi line and you're gonna put it roughly at the altitude tape, that is where your nose gear is located. So that is your center of the aircraft. Regarding the enhancements you see here, it also enhances the night illumination as well. So a lot of these cars will have lights on, so it doesn't look like it's dead, like the airport. And then there's quite a lot of equipment here as well, some static aircraft as well. Flight instrument going further through the checklist. So legally we should go from the beginning. So brakes we checked, flaps are synchronous, steering system is taxi, prop reverse we checked, flight and engine instruments. So everything is fine here. We have ITT below 1100, we have temperature, oil temperature below 110, we have pressure at least 60. We have our fuel here, we have NGs at least 54 bilaterally, which is exactly what we want. Autopilot, baro is set, heading is set, course is set, and our navigation is set and V-speeds are set. So everything is fine. That's a cool car, I think they're called UAS. And the traffic marshaller standing waiting here. That's a military part of the airport on the right. Okay. Right. So we are approaching the runway edge. As you can see, guard lights are here. It seems to be quite low down, weirdly. Something weird is happening here. It's a very steep slope for an airport. Well, anyway, let's stop here. Let's tune the tower. So 1240 they said. Departure frequency is 13545, so we wanted to tune that as well. 13545. Right, condition levers, we want them all the way up, and this is where they're gonna stay until the landing. Our flap display does not match our flap. There we go. Are they going up? They are, exactly. Right, hydraulics kicked in. We forgot about that. Condition levers are up, overspeed tests, which we did that already. Prop RPM are check. Auto feather will stay armed until we have stable climb out. Passenger signs are on. Flight instruments, all is fine. We can get the caution light off. Warning caution lights, check. Transponder is check. TCAS. So now we go to formats. So again, right soft 1 on the PFD changes the format. You can go to multiple ones. You can get the terrain on. I don't like it. This is your weather radar. When it comes to terrain, that suits me as well. We want weather weather radar and traffic. You want to click here, and that gives you the TARA. The range of the radar is changed here with the middle number. That's Boris Paul, just in case you were wondering. So TCAS is on, radars are on, so we shall request takeoff.
Tower Rescuer 112 at runway 08 ready for departure IFR to Oxy.
Rescuer 112 QNH tree 0.19er, wind 149er at 4. Cleared for takeoff runway 08.
Taxi light to on, anti-collision
Cleared
to
for takeoff
air.
runway 08 Rescuer 112.
Navigation check, our anti-ace system, so pitot heat and windshield heat are on. These are the two most important. Bleeder switches will go to off. Okay, we'll get the parking brake. Fuel pumps, obviously. These are on main, these are here. Condition levers, again, check. Flaps, check, and they match the handle. Pitch trim is set, rudder check. Flight controls, any resistance, nothing. Everything is fine. Steering is going to change automatically, so keep an eye on that. I won't be making comments when I'll be taking off, but keep an eye on that message here. And oil coolers are not needed. So after takeoff, we'll retract our gear, we'll climb to a speed of around 120, and then we'll retract the flaps, and our aim will be to climb at the speed of 160. Right. Navigation source to FMS. We'll disarm the brake. I'm just holding it manually, so we'll get the... Right. Now with the engines, you do want to be gentle. That empty arrow is supposed to overlap that one here. That's the calculated ITT, ideal for takeoff. You do not want to go over because you're going to burn the engines. No alarms, no notifications. Let's adjust slightly the throttle, speed's alive. Check. Rotate at 109, do we remember? Rotate and gently. There we go, fantastic. Takeoff gear up. Plane is flying a bit too steeply up. Let's adjust the trim.
Contact Kiev Center on 135.45. Good day.
One 135.45 Rescuer 112. Goodbye.
Vertical speed, and we want to have nav.
Kiev Center Rescuer 112 is passing 1,900 feet, climbing 10,000 feet.
Rescuer 112 Kiev Center QNH tree 0.19 radar contact. Continue to Sierra Lima Victor. Rescuer 112 climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect flight level tree 00.
Climb and maintain 10,000 feet. Expect flight level tree 00. Rescuer 112.
Right. So after takeoff, flaps are up. Can we see them up? Yep. And that's up. Landing lights are on. Wing and recognition are off. Condition levers stay where they are. Climb power is set. That's here. We can adjust it slightly. Passenger signs, we will leave them on. Pressurization is check. Windshield heat. It's still, the temperature is, outside temperature is displayed on the bottom of PFD. It's still -1. No need to panic. All the other eyes protections are fine. Auto feather, we can get it to off. flight. Bleeds, we want bleeds, we definitely want bleeds, and cabin fans, these are on. Right, so as you could see, I switched on the flight level change, and now the aircraft will be holding speed, which we will adjust to 160. Thank you for joining me on this takeoff from very sunny and chilly Kiev. I hope you did like it. Leave me a comment what you think, if you have any comments, any thoughts on the checklist, or changes you might want me to implement. Otherwise, have a good day and enjoy Piaggio.